Hey everyone, my name is Catherine and welcome to my channel. I'm in the Arctic right now, exploring 3 different Arctic islands, Svalbard, Greenland, and then Iceland. And this is going to be part 2. I'm filming this the night before because we have an early start tomorrow. We have a 5:30 a.m. wake up call, and then we're going to be exploring Svalbard all day with 3 different excursions. Going out, I might go kayaking. We'll see how the weather permits. But the first excursion's at 6, so it is almost 9 p.m. I'm going to try to sleep at 9:30, and that's why I'm filming this now, because I'm going to be rushed tomorrow and tired. But I'll see what I can film. I really want to avoid getting this camera wet because I've had an experience in Antarctica getting my camera wet and I don't want to repeat that. But I'll try to film what I can, and yeah, looking forward to it. Bye, see you tomorrow. Morning, I'm actually awake and feeling ready and have time to do a little intro for the day. You can tell there's a lot of, like, I guess cloudiness, mistiness, but it's absolutely beautiful. If you can see over here, honestly, I don't fully know where I am. I'm somewhere in like northern Svalbard, Spitsberg National Park area, something like that. But it's very early. It is almost 6 a.m. I just had a quick bite to eat so that I'm not hangry because I'm about to go on a kayak excursion. I'm just doing one for this trip and it's this morning. So we're gonna do that for like 2 hours and then have breakfast and then go out again, but on the Zodiacs, which are those little boats with the propellers and motors, and then we'll have lunch and then we'll go out again. But this is what it's looking like and it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm also not going to bring this camera on the kayak because I do not want to risk damaging it and getting it wet. And so I'm just going to bring my phone in a waterproof case, and it's not going to be as good of footage, but I'm more willing to do that than risking this camera. I have about 7 minutes until they start calling us. So the thing is, I always have to figure out how I want to get dressed. Yesterday I dressed too warmly and I had to like take off my whole jacket. It was crazy. So I'm like, do I wear 1 pair of socks, 2 pair of socks, 1 base layer, or base layer and a mid layer? I hear because we're wearing dry suits that it's like a turkey baster heater inside, but it is morning and it's gonna be colder than like other times when we'll go out. Sorry, I got cut off. Every time my roommate comes in, it's like scares me because the door's really loud, and then I don't want to film when she's around because she doesn't want to be on camera. But anyways, so I'm just gonna go with this Uniqlo like warm, like synthetic wool piece here, and then this wool piece I got from REI. This is just to go to and from the ready room, and then I have a Uniqlo fleece leggings, and then I think just like the dry suit we're gonna have on is gonna keep us pretty warm. I also got one of these because yesterday my hat was like falling off my head. It was like going up and my ears were exposed and my ears were cold and everything else was fine. So I decided to buy one of these. It's from Arc'teryx. It's a little pricey, but it's nice. And then I have my waterproof bag here that has gloves, a neck thing here, but I don't know if I'll wear that because the dry suit has a really tight neck thing here, but basically we'll see. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the ready room, leaving this camera here, and yeah, excited to do kayaking and just kind of get the day going. I'm actually feeling a bit awake. I feel like the last hour of my sleep, both today and yesterday, I couldn't sleep at that point, so I think it's good that I'm doing the more active thing in the morning when I'm like freshly awake, because I've noticed later in the day is when I start to get quite tired. So yeah, okay, let's get going. We were called, so I need to go. Bye. Hey everyone, I'm now back from the kayaking excursion. It's actually been a little bit of time because we came back and I changed and then I went straight to breakfast because breakfast had already started and I was pretty hungry. And then we just got to talking with one of the guides. It's really nice. I've noticed a lot of the employees here and the guides will sit with us guests and just have conversations. So we had a long conversation with the bird guide about all things birds, and we were like the last table to leave the area. And now we're just cruising along to our next spot. Well, we were supposed to be cruising to our next spot, but it looks like there's possibly a polar bear sighting. So the ship has made a sharp right turn and we're going straight ahead to where people believe there's a polar bear. We have not seen one yet on our trip, but I think it's because we're now going towards regions that are more known for polar bears. And so that's really exciting. So I'm about to get dressed because right now I'm in like my inside clothing, but get more so dressed to then go outside and try to see if I could spot the polar bears from the 8th deck. And yeah, that might derail we have an intercom system that goes on, and he said that might derail our plans for the walrus trek later, but I think polar bears is everyone's like top choice of what they want to see. But as for my kayaking excursion earlier today, it was really nice. I honestly, not gonna lie, I was kind of wishing I didn't sign up for it because I thought it was gonna be more strenuous and like a workout, like kayaking, you know, the whole 2 hours. And it was at 6 in the morning and the weather was good. There was no winds, but it was sprinkling a bit. And of course it's cold here, but it ended up being actually so beautiful and nice. And as you saw from the clips earlier, that I took from my phone, again, because I didn't want to damage this camera, but we were on this cliffside with so many birds and they were so loud. It was crazy. They were so loud. And I guess this was a very special time to see those birds because the fledglings, so like the baby birds that are now learning how to do things such as swim and whatnot, what happens is that they're on the cliffs with the parents. I could have some details not 100% accurate, but they're on the cliffs with their parents and then they're dropping when they're ready into the water for the first time, and then that's when they are with their dads actually, and that's all the sounds going on is like the dads communicating with their chick. And then the dads will be with the fledglings for like 4-ish months or something as they learn to swim and kind of be on their own. And this only happens a couple of days out of the year because of course there's a cycle of, you know, the two birds meeting and then hatching the egg and then like having it hatch and have it get to the state where it's ready to then drop off the cliff and swim. So quite crazy, but yeah, that's what we were up to. And we as the kayakers got to get up pretty close. We didn't get too close to the cliff in case rocks fell, which is fair, but we got pretty close to the cliff and we didn't have any of the background motor sounds that the Zodiacs have. So that was actually really nice to just be in the quiet as it with like no man-made human sounds, but the quiet with nature with all the bird sounds. And then we did see 2 Arctic foxes, which was really cool. We're not sure if they were like 2 mates because they mate for life or if it was like 2 kits, so like younger Arctic foxes that are siblings, because that's very much a possibility of what they could have been. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I did just try to take a nap. It wasn't very successful, but it was still nice to close my eyes just because I started my day at 6 like doing activities, but in reality I woke up at like 5, but the last hour before I woke up I was tossing and turning a bit, so really I've been up since like 4 something. So I'm a little tired, but it's all like when it comes to waking up early and doing things like this, it's not like a routine or every day for work or whatever. It's like for the Arctic, so totally fine, and I can sleep as we go from place to place. But yeah, so let's get more so dressed a little bit so I won't be cold and go outside and try to find some polar bears or a polar bear. I'm guessing it's just one, but yeah, that's really exciting. And it's also good that we're on the ship because they're known to be quite dangerous, so we know we'll be safe on the ship and hopefully we can get really good views of it. I'm back in my room because I forgot binoculars. I never use binoculars, and I was watching a video of someone on this trip before I left and they recommended binoculars, so I brought them last minute. But I tried to get some footage on my phone because this camera is great, except that well, it's not waterproof, but also it doesn't zoom very much at all, whereas my phone zooms in way more, but it is an iPhone 12, so it's not great quality. So I'm gonna try to go back up with my binoculars and just be able to see it in my eyes. So I kind of gave up on getting like a good shot of it on camera, but at least seeing it, trying to see it again, especially the binoculars. So I'm gonna do that, and yeah, so let's go check it out.
Hey, did you see him looking this way, Paul?
Right now we're moving to our next destination, but as you saw, I got to see polar bears. I think I saw a total of 3 polar bears, and I ended up going back down to get my binoculars, and it really helped to be able to see them, so I'm really glad I brought them. So if you go on one of these trips, I recommend bringing binoculars. The first one was just kind of sleeping, so it was really hard to tell him apart from like other snow patches because he just looked like a snow patch. But then he lifted his head up, and then we saw another one that was a bit dirtier, but it was easier to spot him. He was rolling around in the snow, and it was actually really cute. He was doing that for quite a while. And then the third one that I saw, I don't know if other people saw more, but that one we saw for the longest period of time because there was a big stretch of land that it was just walking, and it got pretty much to like the brink of the shoreline, so it was the closest we were to another bear with like the best visibility. So I got clips on my iPhone just because of the zoom capabilities of my phone versus this camera. I'm really glad that we got to see polar bears. So we've seen polar bears, Arctic foxes, lots of birds, and reindeer. We've seen reindeer. So now I think, oh, and belugas, we saw belugas. I think the last main animal we need to see is walruses, which we were supposed to see before lunch, but that got moved out because we saw polar bears along the way, and polar bears are like the biggest thing that people want to see, so we took priority over that. But I think we'll still see walruses at some point. Like, it's only day 3 of a pretty much 2-week trip, so yeah. I think I'm just gonna now chill. I don't know the timing of our next excursion because we haven't been told. Everything's like TBA when it comes to the time on the schedule, and it's all about flexibility, like I said, with depending on what wildlife we see along the way. But yeah, so I'm gonna chill right now, maybe read a little bit. I'm reading a book about Svalbard. That's Cecilia, if I'm saying her name right. She's really well known on YouTube and TikTok. She lives on Svalbard and creates videos. She ended up writing a book. So I'm reading that while I'm here, which has been great and just perfect. So yeah, that's the update, and I will see you guys or talk to you all later. Hey again, so it is now 6:19. We're gonna have dinner in just about under an hour, and we went from starting out the day thinking we were gonna have 3 outings, one at 6 in the morning before breakfast, and then one after breakfast, and then one after lunch. And this is just kind of classic when it comes to these kinds of trips because we prioritize wildlife, and you can't really control when you're gonna see wildlife and where and all of that. So we went from 3 outings to just having the one, which I'm really glad I did the kayaking this morning because, like I mentioned, it was absolutely beautiful. And then we ended up spotting those polar bears, which basically canceled our second outing because our second one would have gone to a cove that has walruses, but we're gonna do that tomorrow, it sounds like. And polar bears is everyone's top choice. So we did that, and then we ended up seeing some whales, which I saw them very briefly, but I didn't get very much footage. But yeah, so it's just kind of funny how it all turned out. But now we are going to a different part of Svalbard, and it took like 2 hours or so to get to this area, and we're still going there, but we are just surrounded by sea ice and icebergs, and it's very beautiful. So the person that's like the head of the programming and talks over the intercom, he suggested for us to go out and enjoy the scenery because we're going to be going along this very beautiful like shoreline, and it's just gonna be filled with ice. Like, check this out. This is just me out in my room, and he said that the best views are going to be on the port side, which is the left, whereas my room is on the right side, or the starboard side. I'm going to go up to the 8th deck and check out the views. I'm dressed up. I feel like I've been getting dressed and undressed for the outside all day, but just to let you guys know kind of like what I've been wearing when I go outside on the ship, not when I like get off the ship into the Zodiacs, because there I like to wear like different layers. It's a little bit different, especially with like waterproof pants, whereas when I'm just getting outside on the ship, I'm wearing like basic Lululemon leggings. It's a little chilly, but it's very doable, and I can go inside at any point. And then I'm just wearing like socks and sneakers. But for the top here, I just have like what I'd be wearing inside, just a t-shirt and then this Lululemon kind of zip up. And then I have here the cork jacket that they provide us. It has a puffer that's detachable underneath, and then the outer side, I just always keep this together. And then for my head, I have this buffer here that's made of wool that I got on the Antarctica cruise, but they do sell the exact same ones here. They just have Svalbard on them, or Greenland with like different colors. I only wear these here because I feel like I'm not in that cold of weather ever in Seattle, so I don't know if I'll get another one because they're expensive and I don't wear them outside these trips. But this is pretty nice. It's just like tied on the neck, so that's the only thing, which might be nice to keep the cold out, but it's just getting it on and off my head, it just is like not the most comfortable feeling. And then again, I got this headpiece because I had hats that I brought with me, but I just feel like they were like falling off my head and they weren't fully covering my ears, whereas I'm really liking this headpiece. It's covering the ears, which is most important, and it's not below freezing. It's in like the 40s here, so I'm good with that. And then I have my gloves. I just got these at Costco, and they're touchscreen, and this is what I wear when I'm just going out. So I'm gonna check out those glaciers, and yeah, so this is just kind of the quick overview of what I've been dressing like. As we're sailing across this beautiful just land of straight ice, I thought it would be a good time to kind of give you some background of this area. And we didn't get off the ship, we just slowly cruised around, taking in the beautiful scenery of all this ice. But we were told later on that there was actually a world record that was set and beat here in Svalbard, right where we were sailing across. So the kayaker Sarasoles, if I'm saying that right, he in 2023 came here to Svalbard and did a whole expedition with his team and hiked up to this ice area. In a second, you'll see that there's going to be a waterfall, and basically what he did is that he beat the world record for the highest ice waterfall descent in the world. So right there you can see where the waterfall is, and he basically hiked up, took a kayak, and just like went completely down vertically into the water. And you can see videos of this on like YouTube, and Red Bull sponsored it. It was a whole thing and just crazy to watch. So that is a fun little fact of something that happened there in 2023, so not too long ago. And then afterwards I got a little chilly, so I just went back inside and was able to view everything from the viewing deck and ended out the night there. Hi everyone, I realized I didn't end off the video yesterday. I was just so tired. It was such a long day, even before dinner, but especially at dinner I was just starting to like nod off. And then I tried to stay up to a reasonable time, but like I stayed up till 10:30 I think, and I'm a night owl, but I stayed up till 10:30 reading a book about Svalbard, but I was struggling to stay awake, so ended up going to bed. We didn't get a time for when to wake up, which I wasn't a big fan of. I like to know when we're waking up so I can prepare. Plus usually they don't, like, I need more time than like the wake up call because they only give us an hour to get ready and eat, and I like to have a half hour for eating and maybe like 45 minutes to get ready because I'm just slow in the mornings. But I'm making it work. I'm gonna go and eat now, but I wanted to close out this video because I think I got enough footage yesterday for a good length video and start a new one for today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will continue on the day today, but see you in my next video. Bye.